Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Yuni Zaratika binti Albizar and my metric number is 279109. In this part, I will present about section 1, which is inventory management practices. In this section, there has 3 points, which is the first one, overview of inventory management practices in Malaysia. Several methods for planning and controlling material flow in manufacturing organizations have been developed throughout the years, and many of these are employed in the manufacturing sectors. Materials Requirements Planning, or MRP, is a business system for production planning and inventory control. According to Hayes and Garu research, competition in the business environment today changed much faster than 20 years ago due to the advanced growth of the global economy. It shows that rapid technological developments such as MRP are helping every organization to maintain high inventory levels and increase the demand at the optimal cost and quality. Other than that, based on Ching's research, he suggests the manufacturing industry in Malaysia is ripe with dynamic challenge. The competition is no longer limited to other manufacturers within the same country, but open to global competition, including neighboring ASEAN countries and China, who can produce similar products at more competitive costs. It means that organizations in Malaysia must focus on their production and how to minimize their costs in every producing the product. Next, 1.2, Technology Support in Managing Inventory. MRP is a method of determining the materials and components required to make a product. It comprises 3 major steps, which is inventorying the resources and components on hand, determining whether extra components are required, and the last one is arranging their manufacture or acquisition. MRP is using bill of material, which is BOMs, inventory data, and master production schedule to get the all information. BOM elements have divided by 2, which is independent demand and dependent demand. There has no specific technology support MRP, but MRP depends on the inventory that organization need. Next is 1.3, which is challenges in using MRP in an organization. The first point is setting planned lead times. As we know, lead time are taken from an order is placed until it is delivered to the customers. The budget time between a production order is required to be completed, and when work on the order is scheduled to begin is represented by planned lead time, which is the planned order release date. As manager, they have to train their worker in order to applying planned lead time, because this will affect reputation of organization if customer can get their product on time. Planned lead time is commonly used in many industries such as manufacturing, supply chain, supply management, and project management. Second point is data integrity. MRP are using data to analyze and make ordering for inventory. Since MRP relies on input data, the precision of the data is crucial to the precision of MRP output data. MRP calculation cannot be relied on if there has inaccurate data in the inventory records, bill of materials data, or master production schedule. So the manager of production must check all the data whether the data are strictly followed by the original data before proceeding to the next step. The last point is maintaining accurate BOM files. BOM is a detailed description of the raw materials, components, and instructions. BOM is the mainly data for MRP. If the data from BOM is wrong, then it can cause to production delays and increase operating expenses, and this will affect the organization for the production.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Zuraimi bin Muhammad Rasid. My metric number is 279251. Alright, today I would like to explain about the product MRP in production and inventory strategy. MRP is based on the lead time of a supply chain. Each operation will produce a schedule that is larger than the capacity of the operation. MRP may be utilized as a starting point, and the schedule managed by the shop floor can be used to close the gap between the schedule and the actual capacity. Alright, now I will explain about the collaboration program. Why MRP is important in collaboration program? Because manufacturing firm owners and supply chain managers require a variety of tools to remain competitive in today's challenging environment, including manufacturing resources planning, or what we call it MRP software. There are certain aspects that need to be addressed when implementing an MRP system. There need to be a certain level of customized approach in every MRP implementation. The key to a successful implementation is the people at the helm of the innovation, goals, KPIs, and incentives to maintain their client and revenue. Alright, there are three types of software that you can use and you can access your MRP system, such as NetSuite, IQMS, and Odoo. First of all is NetSuite. NetSuite is a real-time demand planning capabilities inside across product lifecycle and excellent interaction with accounting software. NetSuite comes with a ton of functionality and integrated tools, many of which are tailored particularly for the manufacturing sector. And additionally, cloud-based, the system is very expandable and excellent for advanced planning across the full production process. Alright, number 2 is IQMS. IQMS is an enterprise resource planning, what we call ERP system, but it also provides a competitive MRP software system along with other practical manufacturing and demand forecasting features. This MRP software updates production, schedule, and raw material needs by synchronizing with manufacturer bill of materials, what we call it BOM. And this is a complete MRP solution designed for a bigger manufacturing organization. And lastly, MRP software in apps Odoo. Odoo delivers a market-leading MRP solution in addition to performing all tasks related to CRM, sale, and HR. Odoo also provides a free download of its open source software on its website for business with and sufficient IT personnel. And Odoo has functionality for managing inventory requirements, tracking traceability, requesting materials, and making maintenance requests.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Mariam binti Ahmad Ali Zubir, matrix number 279208, and I am going to present 2.2 Inventory Management Control and Policy. Inventory Management Control and Policy is used to decide how a product should move through the supply chain, and it helps to manage time and uncertainties in supply chain. For inventory allocation, MRP can be used to check and compare demand to inventory and allocate those resources using Bill of Materials or BOM. While the sourcing policy for MRP, there are three resources, which is Inventory Records File, the Master Schedule or Master Plan, and also the Bill of Materials BOM. Next is the inventory ownership. Manufacturing companies preserve their profitability by setting priorities in the current processes and maintain demand, and MRP help business owners or manufacturers to control the production process and supply chain. Next, I will proceed to information-related dimension. Firstly is the demand visibility. MRP gives business insight into the inventory needs necessary to meet demand that allows them to improve inventory levels and production schedules. Secondly is the access to information. MRP requires information from the Bill of Materials BOM, inventory information, and master production plan. MRP can be used to determine information such as the parts and materials required to create a certain product. Thirdly is the IT configuration. For MRP, we use a system called SAP MRP. This system can be used to purchase or manufacture necessary materials amount on time. We need to acquire the MRP parameters such as net change, NETCH, net change in planning horizon, NETPL, and regenerative planning and EUPL. Now, I am going to explain the ways to run MRP for all products. Firstly, from SAP Easy Access Screen, open transaction MD01 to run MRP at plant level. Next, enter the manufacturing plant for which we want to take MRP run. Next, we can enter processing key as NETCH. And then, for input 1, we can create purchase requisition, which means for externally procured materials, MRP will generate purchase requisitions instead of planned orders. Next, we can enter 3 for schedule lines, which means MRP will generate schedule lines for raw materials having scheduling agreement. Enter 1 in MRP list and system will create MRP list similar to stock requirement list for later analysis of previous MRP run. Next, enter planning mode 3 as we will delete and recreate all planning data for all materials. And then enter scheduling indicator 2, which means MRP will do lead time scheduling and consider routing times to calculate plan order dates. System will take some time to calculate the material requirement. Lastly, after the calculation is done, a report will appear. Here, it is possible to see how many materials were planned and on what parameters were given during the run. On the other hand, to run MRP for single material, firstly, in transaction MD02, we will run MRP for a single material. Next, we just repeat the same steps as MRP for all products. Lastly, I am going to explain how to do MRP evaluation. Firstly, from SAP Easy Access screen, open transaction MD04 and then enter material for which stock or requirement list needs to be displayed and the plant code. After entering the information in all the fields, click check to go to the next screen, and finally the stock and requirement list will be displayed.
Hi, my name is Sumarif bin Basaruddin and my matrix number is 277989. So, let me continue with my part. In supply chain management, the ability to make decision is critical. If a company decision-making process isn't relevant and applying, it might lead to a little problem that quickly escalates into a major problem. A skilled decision-making handle risk and ensure that all activities from planning to delivery go smoothly. Checking, asking, managing, and communicating are all components that necessary the use of an excellent choice maker. MRP inventory replacement process. The process begins in the SAP backend with the development of purchase requisition PR for a material master as a consequence of the MRP run or manually made PR with the material master. The PR will be forwarded to SRM if all the conditions are satisfied, which is main criteria are PR must be released and right purchase group must be specified. SRM's automatic searching is based on mapping table, which is material master versus vendor, divide vendor component number and searching data from catalog, which is description, price, lead time and others. The purchasing in the catalog will be used to place order. Example, MRO stock items, which is warehouse on site. Non-stock material master linked to a bill of material to order directly from a vendor MRP. Process overview. 1. MRP examines the material stock level. 2. For goods with low stock levels, PRs are generated automatically. 3. The planner look over the PRs that has been created and select which one will be issued. 4. The system determines of if PR is appropriate to SRM. 5. The system verifies that the mapping tables are correct and contain all the information required to process the PR. 6. The system will by group post by automatically grouping the PRs, which is PR suitable for ordering. This is a batch job based system. 7. According to the send schedule, SRM send the PO to the vendors. The PO replicated in the backend system using SRM. 8. In the backend system, the PO is reproduced SAP. And 9. The planner must update the product details in the mapping tables if the PR cannot be processed properly in SRM. The planner resends the PR when it has been changed, so it may be handled in SRM. Please see below the diagram which explain the above process. Control limits. The top and lower boundaries of the permissible range of the result for the process are defined by control limits, which are horizontal lines in a control chart. The quality control chart, or control chart for short, is a tool for quickly and cost-effectively obtain information about the product groups by examining characteristics such as size, hardness, damage, and yield rates. Control charts are used to keep production conditions steady or statically controlled. The upper and lower control limit are defined in this approach, and the control status is determined whether it is within the range between the upper and lower limits, indicating a stable condition, or beyond the range, indicating an aberrant status. As indicated in the program, the control chart is parted into sections based on the quality attributes to be monitored. Replacement and ship decision. Replacement is an order management action as well. However, it's defined as shipping more material after the original order has been completed. You will submit an order to your supplier to refill your supply if you require additional material from them. The goal of replacements is to keep inventory moving through the supply chains by ensuring that order and line item fill rates are as high as possible. Organization risk losing money if they don't have a comprehensive replacement plan in place. For example, a company may run out of raw material, causing production delay, or machines may not have the item that consumer want, resulting in sales loss and customer attractions. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ahmad bin Norman and my matrix number is 282012. In this slide, I will brief about three things, which is pros and cons of MRP, recommendation and conclusion. To begin with, there are two sides of pros or advantage of MRP and two sides of cons or disadvantage of MRP. In pro side, which is the first, perfect resources planning. Second, traceability supply chain. While in size of cons, companies need to take into account more than just the MRP system licensings or subscription fees. Second, business need to be clarified more. All of this data will be given to organize the trends and updated system of MRP that can be improved or implemented. Next is recommendation. In recommendation, which can be identified three important things like expediting, de-expediting, and cancelling order, meaning giving to avoid any risk future decision to improve more of MRP system. Lastly, conclusion. We all retrieve research. In short, we can conclude that to ensure cost effectiveness and efficiency are met, the system aids in calculating future capacity requirements, planning production schedule, establishing the necessary safety stock, and determining the most practical lot of size. MRP system able to be a functional process to guidance all of the manufacturer plans product. That's all from me. Thank you.